As you can see, I have my deepfake AI ChatGPT glasses where I am able to identify any deepfakes, any bots, any ChatGPTs in the chat. Those automated assistants that help you when you try to get to your doctor's office. I can identify that with these glasses. If you don't know, I found these glasses in a Dick's Last Resort bathroom right on the floor. Was Dick's Last Resort still in business? Can you still go to that restaurant? I don't know. But yeah, I found that I was at Dick's Last Resort where they make the funny hats and they're really rude to you if you've never been there. I was at Dick's Last Resort. It says, excuse me, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I brought my bowl of corn to the bathroom because I didn't want anybody pranking me. I don't know if you got friends and family like I do where they'll prank you if you leave your food on the table and excuse yourself to the restroom. So I brought my bowl of corn so nobody salted the corn. And I was in the bathroom eating my corn, going to the bathroom, eating my corn, and I looked down and said, what are those? And it was these. And I picked them up and I said, my God, these look good. I put them on and I could identify any chat GPT, any AI deepfakes, any bots, any Albanian bot farms, any Prussian, any Czechoslovakian bot farms, Herzegovina, Albanian, Azerbaijanian BART farms, and bot farms. So I have the deepfake glasses with me, guys. We're going to talk about the Riyadh Comedy Festival coming to you live this weekend. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Is that alcohol in your hand? Go to jail. Go to jail. We're going to talk about Sharia law, Islamic law, Riyadh, the comedy festival, the lineup, the big names that you know and love. They're all coming, folks. Some of them aren't putting it on their website. They're not really promoting it, which is weird, you know? When all these comics have a podcast now, and I just like to say back in 2006, I was telling them to do it. I remember I told Ari Shafir, I was like, what's your podcast? And he said, my what? I said, your podcast. He said, this is a good idea. I'm going to tell this guy I know, Joe Rogan, about it. And then I'm sorry. But we're going to talk about the Riyadh Comedy Fest, guys, because not enough. Why do you think this is in honor of the Riyadh Comedy Fest? I have my Satan is Watching shirt. If you are doing the ears only version of this live pod stream, the live cast, the Robcast. No, that's Tim Putin's thing. I don't want to call it a Tim cast. The Rob stream. The live Rob. If you're doing ears only, I'll read my shirt. My shirt says Satan is watching. Thank you to my beautiful wife for getting me the shirt. They get me the coolest stuff. One of my favorite shirts. And I wore this because, I feel like this is a reminder for all you comedians. The Bill Burrs, the Chappelles, the Harts, the Schultz, the Gabriel Iglesias, Fluffy, as the fans know him, the Jimmy Carrs, the Louis C.K.'s, the, who else? Who else is going out to Riyadh, huh? Who else? They're probably already there, And God bless them. Well, Mohammed bless them. Well, Allah. Alhamdulillah. Well, I don't know. I don't want to offend anybody, but we got to talk about it. Don't read this. Don't read the Human Rights Watch. Who is that? Is that Bert Kreischer? I don't know. Some of these. Is that Ari Spears? Tim Pool? I don't know what that one is. Aziz Ansari's, Jimmy Carr, Bert Burr. Is that his name? Bert Burr. Peter Davidson, Joe Malone, Post Malone. I don't know. Some of their names I'm not good with, guys. I'm like, I'm old school. I remember Johnny Carson. I remember when Johnny Carson didn't even talk about the government. Huh? He just said, what's for dinner? Is it frozen? Ay. Rodney Dangerfield. He couldn't even get any respect. I don't know who's that? Bob Segura, Aziz. Is that Hassan Parker? I don't know. Is that the big guy Bobby? Did he lose weight? Is that Nick DiPaolo? I don't know. This is Mark Norm Donald. You guys know, you know and love them. These are like the ones, guys. Why do you think Riyadh, the minister of jokes, invited them? We all know these guys. That's the host of P. Diddy's parties. You remember him? I forget his name. He's the guy that hosted. He like hosted the Oscars. He hosted every P. Diddy party. You see him on those VHS tapes that they leaked online. And he's like, we had the craziest P. Diddy party. And then the girl's hair in the bathtub caught on fire. That is David Chappelle. I believe he's French. Chappelle. It's got to be a French name. There's Anziz. Or is that Hassan Parker? You know, all the legends, guys. All the legends. The legends. That's what I call them. But here's the thing. There's more. Chris Tucker. Jeff Ross is going. Chris Tucker. Who could forget? Rush Hour. I loved Rush Hour. Friday. Rush Hour 2. Rush Hour 3. Rush Hour 4. Mwah. Love Chris Tucker. Best comic ever. Then you remember him. You might not identify him with his pants on, but that's Louis C.K. That is Irish British, known for deadpan one-liners and sharp satire. Jimmy Carr is. That's Jimmy Carr. That's Louis C.K. He's hard to recognize with his pants up. But these guys, it's weird because some of these guys, Andrew Schultz, you guys love him, right? He's the guy that brought the R word back, folks. Him and Joe Rogan, they made it legal again. Sam Morril, Bandito, good to see you, my brother. Michael, good to see you. I love you guys. Love you. I used to like Segura before he started phoning in. I've heard that. I never really liked the Bert Kreischers and the Seguris, and the Bob Segura, Sam Morrils. That's funny. That guy's name is Sam Morril. Not very. That was part of my stand-up. Save it. Sim Racing. I'm torn on this. To spread a good message, we need these voices to speak, but in the same breath, how can you take the dirtiest money that ever was dirtied? It's filthy money. We don't even call it dirty money. But here's the thing, guys. I just want to get this out of the way because I know the slow polio Rogan bots are going to come into the chat, so I have my glasses. Here's the thing, guys. I know you're looking at, Sam Morril, and you're like, Morril? Really? Riyadh money? Really? But here's the thing, guys. Who wouldn't do, I watched a lot of the takes on this. A lot of takes. That's what they were calling them. Takes. Don't look at the Human Rights Watch link that I put down below. We're going to get to that later. Look at this. Jimmy Carr, who's co-headlining on October 6th. I wonder why they're not doing it on October 7th. What could be October 7th? I don't know. Anyways, does not list his appearance in Saudi Arabia on his website or social media. We should, go comment. Like, Jimmy, are you already in Riyadh? Jimmy has often vigorously defended free speech publicly. I am a huge free speech absolutist. Here's the new thing that I learned, is if anyone calls himself a free speech absolutist, I look at him like this. I go... Now, you take what you want from that. Some artists say a look says 1,000 words. A lot of artists are now saying it's not even the paintings I do. It's the look that Rob gives. That speaks 1,000 words. So I go like that. For the people doing the ears only edition, I'm sorry. The look it's blue steel means you're sus, But, Jimmy Carr is a free speech absolutist. Now, I wonder, we're going to go over laws in Riyadh because I want all my comic friends like Chris Tucker. Look at him. He was friends with Michael Jackson, I think. I want all my comic friends to stay so safe. So there's modesty laws. There are Sharia laws. There's royal decrees, public behavior. You got to say no homo after everything. I mean, the Joe Roganites, the Andrew Schultzes, this guy, Andy Schultz is going to love this because his whole bit, I think every punchline of Andrew Schultz's is no homo. So he's going to be excited because like the king, or is it emperor? I don't know. The king's going to love it. He's going to be like, oh, me and Joe Rogan, really good friends. No homo, Hey, Andrew Dice Clay should have been there. So we're going to look at some of the laws, and I linked, if you're going to Riyadh to see your favorite comic talk about their free speech, which maybe that's why some of the comics weren't saying anything when it came to the First Amendment infringement here in America. Maybe that's why. Because they were like, I'm going to rehab. What is free speech? What is that? I'm a comic, man. What should I be talking about free speech? George Carlin went to prison for me. So we're going to talk about, and I linked down below, the SaudiArabia.net, great website, and it lays out some of the laws, the modesty, religious values. Hey, no criticizing the king. I mean, this is very American. This is like, tan America. We got the white Taliban. They got the OG. So we're going to look at some of the laws in Riyadh. No criticizing the king, the royal family, government institutions, or Islam. That is illegal. It is illegal in Riyadh. So correct your set. Okay? You're going to do a tight 5. No criticizing the king. Public order. Actions that provoke or mock public order, religious values, or public morals are prohibited. Same-sex relations. The Joe Rogan sphere is going to love this, because after every joke you just go no homo, and then it's legal again. What else are we going to go into? Public decency. Comics, especially American comics, they have always been for public decency. No public displays of affection. So no, tap on the rear, good game. None of that, boys. None of that. Indecent dress. Now, this one concerns me, because if you know anything about Louis C.K., Riyadh really likes morality, public decency. So no indecent dresses, Louis. That means keep that belt at a tight 32, my friend. All right. Poor Mark Normand is not going to make it home. Ah, shit. Oh, man, Mark Normand. That's his name, not Mark Norm McDonald. I kept calling him Mark Norm McDonald, and that's not his name. Hey, J66, what's up? Thank God we're in America, because that handle would not fly in Riyadh. We're going to talk about the great comics of America going to the home. Here's the website. I'm pissed. I tried to take photos of this so it would fit, but I want everybody to know, before we get into the Riyadh when I say comedy Mecca, what do you think? Riyadh. I know. I could hear you. When I say comedy Mecca, everybody's thinking Riyadh, New York, LA. No, I'm thinking Riyadh. And I just wanted to go over some laws for my favorite comics, like Bill Barr. What's his name? Bert Burr and Bob Kreischer. Tom Normand, Norm Segura, Chris Tucker, all the greats, guys, all the greats. I just want, because, they probably need something to listen to. What are they going to do? What is Bill Burr going to listen to his own podcast on the 42-day flight to Riyadh? I don't think so. He's got to listen to something. So hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. But I just wanted to go over, before you touch down, as they say, wheels up before we touch down, before they start getting into that kind of celebrity lingo, I wanted to just go over some laws that they're going to have to adhere by, because it's important. Now, you can see this is from SaudiArabia.net. Pretty sure that's official. I screenshot it. I linked it down below. It says Saudi society is based on full adherence to God's guidance. Now, in all fairness, I wonder if that also serves as a defense. Like, say, Mark Norm McDonald, or whatever his name is, or Bill Barr. Is it Bill Barr or Bill Burr? Whatever. Bill Burr, makes a joke that is not criticizing, like, women, or, he's not going after the marginalized communities that the Slow Rogan comedy community loves, the comedy spaceship loves. They're like, go after those vulnerable people. Don't punch up, you punch down. What are they gonna do? Talk back? But here's the thing. If you go outside of that and they go to comedy jail, which is a thing I believe over there, I wonder if you can say, I was just adhering, God came to me in a vision, and I was adhering to his ultimate guidance. But then again, I do question what God they're referring to because they don't put names. And there's no asterisk. So is that the Allah God, the white Jesus God, the Jewish God yet to be disclosed? And it says members of society shall something. So I can't read it in charity, piety, and cohesion. Consolidation of the national unity is a duty. Wow, this sounds like Donald Trump could have wrote this. The state shall forbid all activities that may lead to division, disorder, and partition. What is this? Is this like the Southern Confederacy decree? We decree that from here on we will be in full adherence to God's guidance. You're allowed 4 wives, that you could cheat on each of them and divorce, and you're only allowed 25 children out of those 4 marriages. Sounds very Southern. Skid v. Skid. One of my favorite comics from back in the day was Skid v. Skid. I like Skid v. Skid, Spy vs. Spy, everything out of Mad TV. He says, from Canada. Good. I wouldn't survive to Sharia's law. Yeah, I don't know who Sharia is, but she sounds like a bitch. God, which one? Thank you, J66. That's what I mean. They're like, they don't even, it is too coherent for Trump. Listen, if this was done in all caps and, said dipshit a couple of times, then I'd be like, all right, that's a Trump tweet right there. But J66 this is what I was saying, man. They say full adherence to God's guidance. This is, again, Saudi Arabia's rule book, their law book, which is Islamic law, which is in Riyadh, which is where the comedians are going to do their comedy. Their comedy that's very tight and conservative. It's based on God's guidance. I would say every comic really, when they're charting a tight 10, they are, really, alhamdulillah, going for God's guidance here. But the thing that really bugs me is like, which fucking God? What God are we talking about? Because this is gonna cause some beheadings, guys. I'm just gonna be very honest with you. Why fly high when you can? What? He's hiding his hairline. You wish I was hiding my hair. I love these boys coming in here asking me about my hair, bro. I couldn't go bald if I lived to be 180. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just the genetics, bitch. Go to Tim Pool's pod stream, the Timcast. Okay. And I won't show you my hair. I know you're just trying to flirt with me, why fly high, but I'm sick of the men coming in here always commenting on my hair, telling them they can smell me, saying, why are you living in your mom's basement? You come live with me. Like, enough. I won't be treated like an object. You are not an OnlyFans pimp. Enough with that. I'm sick of the language. Stop objectifying me. I'm a man. I'm a real boy. And I can tell you're a Republican because you come right in going for the looks. But I don't see you talking to Joe Rogan saying, bro, I don't know why they're putting you as, 5'2". You're clearly 5'5", Joe. Why don't you go into Andrew Tate, Andy Tate and Tim Pool? Or go to Elon Musk's podcast. Does he have a podcast yet? He should, where he just has an AI version of him, which I would be able to tell with my glasses. Go to Elon Musk and say, Elon, why are you so for gender affirming care? Why did you have your butt hair plugged into your head hair so you don't go bald? I don't care. If you're bald, I say embrace it, ladies. Saudi doesn't want to have Sharia law, but they can't disavow it because they don't want the hate. What are you, working for the government? Shut up. In the most polite way. People say shut up, not I. Michael O, I did security for a Christian comedy show, the longest work shift of my life. I know they got Christian rock, but Christian comedy, come on. Unless it's like just dogging on people, being like, who's really going to hell? That was a Christian show I could watch. Oh man, where are all the likes? People get the likes in here for B-Rob. Thank you, Jenny Banks. Appreciate you. Where are all the likes? I probably lost them. They're good fans of God's guidance. And sometimes, I'm going to be honest, this is why I wear my reminder shirt, Satan is watching, because I'm not always adhering to God's guidance. I know the South, which is filled with the white Taliban, the Republican Taliban. I know Riyadh, where the comedy festival is, if you don't know. Oh, peekaboo. Oh, Kendrick Lamar. If you don't know, don't read, listen, don't, whatever, humanrightswatch.org, link down below, whatever. Bob Segura, Aziz Ansari, Jimbo Carr, Bill Barr, Dave Chappelle, Mark Normans, Sam Morrill. His last name is Morrill, for Christ's sakes. You don't think he's doing a clean 5? Peter Davidson? I mean, we all know and love him from that thing. You know, he's so good. Look at that adorable face. He's probably not going to go to Riyadh prison. This guy, you know, the guy, look at that guy. I don't even remember his name. Thank you, Jenny. I love my shirt too. It's one of my favorite because I wear it and people look at me funny, but I go, this is for me, guys. This is to remind me Satan is always watching, always. And that's, I think, the heart of this. And listen, I'm going to read a little bit from this Human Rights Watch. I don't know why they're, I don't know why they're bad. They're just hating. I think that's what people say. People are like, the Human Rights Watch and the comics that are probably featured in this, they're just haters. You're selling your soul every day. Just like, hey, man, pretty sure you're going to a job every day, right? For that health care. Pretty sure you know what it's like to sell out. You sell out. And I get it, And Tim Dillon, he's like, hey, they're paying me enough money to look the other way. Paying him 375, not Riyadhs, but US dollars. And some of the... Hello. There we go. So I think Tim Dillon got fired from the show. Says, and he made some remarks and they fired me. So is Tim Dillon not going? I don't know, guys. I don't know, but they're just saying, the comics are saying, you're a hater. You're drinking haterade. That's all it is. Cliff Cash, I like him. They're saying, oh, you're just a hater. Exactly. Easy EFPV. Is that a venereal disease? What? Jesus, what is with that name? He says, get a job, loser. And that's like what these comics are saying. Bob Segura is like, get a job, you loser. You're just a sellout too. Pretty sure you're going to a job for money. Nerd. At least they're getting 1.6 million to look the other way while they, have to perform in the most God guidanced way. All these comics. Andrew Schultz is on there, October 9th. That's weird. I think he's headlining October 7th. Wonder if there's any connections with that. But guys, they're going to have no criticism of the king, Islam. That's all legal. Taking photos or video of people without their permission is not allowed. The comics love that. Like, no affection, no profanity. When have you heard a comic be profane? When? Oh, wait. Never. Profanity. Illegal. Disrespectful behavior. Prohibited. Okay? This is all Riyadh, how they do it in Riyadh. And if you take a note from Riyadh, I think that's what also... the other thing, I know usually at a comedy show they say 2 drink minimum, but like if you go to the Comedy Spaceship, you have to get 2 drinks. There's like they don't do the alcohol there, so it's gonna be a pretty dry show. So comics, keep your comedy dry, and everything will be pretty cool. I mean, you can look this stuff up. Sometimes, I mean, if you're bringing a drug that's not approved, flogging. I wonder what night the floggings will happen. October 6th. I don't know, but I'm imagining if any of them get caught with those, Joe likes those mushroom pills. Hopefully those are the legal mushroom pills, because if not, Andrew Schultz, you got to watch out for public flogging. Public, this is what the Republicans wanted. Prohibited. Bro, you know how to pronounce it. Don't act like you're from the South. A lot of comics done failed to never forget 9/11. Well, it's been a long time, Daniel Peckham. Are you related to David Peckham? He married Victoria Peckham. That's a nice shirt. Thank you. Appreciate it. I wore this shirt in honor of the Riyadh Comedy Festival. I think all comics should remember. I mean, what Satan, though? What Satan is watching? It's just like when I was showing you the laws. This is from, link down below. This is from SaudiArabia.net. The state shall protect the Islamic creed, apply the Sharia, encourage good and discourage evil. Okay? And undertake its duty regarding the propagation of Islam, Dawah. I think that was also in Star Wars, the Dawah. I love the Dawas. They were so cute. But, these aren't my laws. I didn't make these up. Some man did make these up, and it was a man. But Saudi Arabia is based on full adherence to God's guidances. And the thing is like, which God? You have to know going in. And I wish they would be more specific. This is just a note. If the guy who edits the Saudi law website could just put in an asterisk and tell us which God's guidance, is it Krishna? Is it, I don't even know. There's a ton of them. Is it the old gods, the new gods? Fuck. Is it Thor? That stresses me out, because it's like, which God? Because is it Jesus? Because if it's Jesus, those white Southerners who keep marrying a new lady, or, I don't have my sound effects with me, but, the ones that keep lusting in their hearts, Jesus said that was cheating, so that's not God's guidance. Realistic gaming is figuring out what a live stream is. It's amazing. It's the same God as Christians. Well, says you, but they're not really clear. And if you don't know anything about Riyadh law, well, it's not multiple gods because it's gods. All right, thank you, Orbiter Turpinlinus. We're narrowing it down. It's a singular God, so that brings a lot of the confusion down to just a few. Hold on. So if you don't know, big show. All these guys, they're getting paid like $300,000, $1 million. I don't know. And people are like, oh, really? You wouldn't go see Louis C.K. in a place where you can't drink alcohol and it's dictated by Islamic law and you can't even have public indecency, or you have to be modest in clothing. And this is, I'm not making light of this, guys. This is just, you can't. Modest dress and behavior in public, prohibits criticizing the kingdom royal family, enforces rules against public displays of affection. While historically strict, some powers of the religious police, what have we heard forever? The South, they want to enforce religion. Religious police, this is very American, have been reduced. Oh, good. They defunded the religious police. Now you're going to get the Republicans all pissed off. You're going to defund the religious police? Who is going to save you when, Satan's knocking on the door, when you're possessed? With the general police now primarily responsible for monitoring public decency offenses. These are the laws, the general culture of Riyadh, because a lot of you don't know. You were born and raised in America, so you're sitting here like, oh, everybody knows milk does a body good and Coca-Cola has those pet polar bears. You live in a bubble. That's what I'm trying to teach you. You're living in a bubble. And in other countries, just like our dear Lord and Savior President, really wants no critique of his kingship. Look at this. Based on Islamic law and royal decrees, you're going to have criminal offenses for things like adultery, witchcraft. You cannot criticize the kingdom or the royal family. Right? We know the playbook. We know what the Republicans want. They're like, you're a witch. Publicly flogged. Adultery. For who? Not for like the royals, right? The royals can, because I mean, if you think of Elon, he's got like 15 kids, bunch of baby mamas. He's got what else? He's got a lot of stuff. RFK's got like 3 wives. Trump had 3 wives, cheated on all of them. Who else did we go into? There's a lot of them, guys. A lot of them. I'm assuming that the adultery means the peasants. No peasant adultery. They should clarify that. So this is like, this is what a lot of Republicans are pushing for. You can't criticize the kingdom or the royal family. We want public decency, no adultery, no witchcraft. This is basic stuff, guys. They want to, that's what they're talking about, the good old days. They're talking about the 1600s, where they had Christian judges that were not certified by law, that were going after the witches. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to do a quick podcast. So Jeff Ross, Chris Tucker, Aziz, Bob Segura, Kevin Hart. Look at these handsome dudes. You think those sunglasses aren't $1 million sunglasses? How is he going to afford a second pair of Gucci and Gabbana? What are they called? Where you go into the light and the shade goes away? Those are like, those are probably Meta glasses. And you haters just want these comics to like, have 1 pair of sunglasses. It's not going to happen. And you're probably going every day to a job where you're selling out. Jesus, bunch of haters. I did link this Human Rights Watch article down below because it was just interesting. It wasn't like, wasn't anything. It's just interesting stuff. Brutal repression of free speech. Well, that pretty much aligns with some of these comics' values. September 19th, they wrote a letter or something. I don't know. You can read it on your own. I think it's weird, Jimmy Carr, free speech absolutist. I don't trust any absolutists anymore. What are all these guys? Some of you should be in school. Some of you should be in school. Because some of you are, hard to tolerate. Yeah, they definitely have that kind of penalty. The worst one, the state-sanctioned one. They got that there. But, there's a lot of Americans that like that. Yeah, they discourage evil, And listen, I don't subscribe to any of this, This is me. I believe in Jesus Christ, who said, love your enemy, love your neighbor. Who's your neighbor? Everybody. But just some of these comics got to be weary, because if they're cracking open, look at this. I want to show you this. This is a map of the driest countries. There is Saudi Arabia. The dark green means no alcohol. I zoomed in, and look, liters of alcohol consumption per capita in Saudi Arabia. 0. So there's no 2-drink minimum. If you were trying to go to this show and you're like, hey, where's my tickets? 2-drink minimum. No. Strictly prohibited. Okay. I know some of you Americans live in a bubble. You're living in a bubble thinking, oh, everybody's America. No. Can lead to severe punishment. So no sneaking nips on the plane. There's a lot of rules, guidelines, stuff. Look at this. Mass media and all other vehicles of expression shall employ civil and polite language. I wish they would give us a list of words so the comics can know. Because Dave Chappelle, he's a great storyteller, but sometimes he says, I've heard him say some not polite language. Is he going to get publicly flogged? I don't know. Contribute towards the education of the nation and strengthen unity. It is prohibited to commit acts leading to disorder and division, affecting the security of the state and its public relations, undermining human dignity and rights. That's interesting. Details shall be specified in the law. So you got to read further, but America is not known for reading much. That's the entire American game. Miss Arkham Queen. It is, you're figuring it out. If you're wondering why some of these Southern Baptists, evangelical people are like, we want the 10 Commandments in school, because they're like, well, Islam's doing it. They're putting their pillars up in schools, and they're making, everybody be nice to Islam. You can't do witchcraft. No, I'm guessing they don't have Halloween, even though that's meant to scare the spirits. You're supposed to be scaring the spirits away. We scare Satan only once a year. I think it should be once a month. Have a Halloween where we get free candy, socialism from all our neighbors. And we scare the demons. But, we're not that religious yet here in America. We're just, we're teetering. You want to talk about a religious state? This is the one. Islamic law in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, where it's known when you say comedy Mecca, you're thinking, I'm like, oh, Jimmy Carr, the free speech absolutist. Chris Tucker from Rush Hour Trilogy. All these comics. Bill Barr, Jim Carr, David Peterstone, Aziz Ansari, Bob Segura, Tom Normand, Don Chappelle, Mark Normal. I forget who he is. I know he was in something. This guy, Joe. I think his just name is Joe. All the great comics. I linked the things down below. This is not a pagan holiday. Guys, look into it. When Jesus was little, he dressed up and went around, and he was like, trick or treat. Scaring Satan. Why do you think you dress up? You got to scare the other ghosts. Listen, Matthew, you got a lot of thoughts, but the one thing we learned is, free speech is very limited, okay? That's what we're trying to just be more obedient. You got to be obedient to the government. If you're not, don't know what to tell you if you're not. But I love you guys. That's why I'm showing you this, I love our comics. God bless them. But the right God. God bless them all, also with you. This was a little confusing. And they were like, based on, Saudi is based on full adherence to God's guidance. I was like, God bless you. Which God? Trick question. They got me. I'm going to be publicly flogged. I knew it, they'd get me. I knew it. So hit subscribe, because I'm teaching you valuable things. You're probably, booking that trip to Riyadh right now. You're like, no alcohol and no patting each other on the butt in public. Book me a trip. I mean, they're doing a big, like tourism board, It's called Vision 2030. Look it up. I hate it when my government calls me a witch. Well, judging by that comment, I can tell you around since the 1600s and haven't aged a bit. They did call a lot of people witches, the people here. And they weren't. And that was the sad part, like if you're going to call someone a witch, get it right. That was the whole thing. It was like, get it right. A lot of people have a lot of comments. And that's the beautiful thing about America. You're still allowed a comment section. Soon it's going to be heavily moderated by the government to make sure there's no criticism. And some of you, are fine with that. And that's okay. That's okay. I eat paper. It says caring about the environment and being anti-capitalist. They're calling you a bad word. I hear you, because I'm both of those too. I love the environment. Have you ever been to the environment? It's sick. Nature, streams, fishing, all that stuff. Fish, bears, wolves, ravens. The environment is so sick. And the thing is, if you're just like, hey, we shouldn't put profit over people, let's put people over profit. And some of these people have been duped. A lot of people are saying they were duped. They were like, oh, you believe that capitalism is like here to help you? Oh, no. What are you, money? What are you, a CEO? And the thing, there's so many people that are like, hey, man, don't tax those billionaires. And I'm like, tax them into extinction. And they're like, no, they can't afford that. How is Jeff Bezos going to rent, Rome for his third wedding? He just rented Venice. If you want that guy to be able to have a nice third wedding, potentially, maybe, I don't know. Is that what he's planning? I have no idea. I can't read his mind. Shut up. Jimmy, the soybean farmers definitely wish they voted differently. You can't go on Reddit without seeing some soy boy farmer in Arkansas crying, Trump's not paying attention to me. It's like, God, he's old, man. He just had to walk up an escalator yesterday. Give him a week off. Christ. Not to be pedantic, love that word, but technically toxic wasteland is an environment. God damn it, you got me. That pedantic comment got me. The soy boy farmers. Dan is awesome. A 1,000. We used to say that. Audi 5,000. I guess now the kids are saying 1,000. See? That's how much your money and words have lost in value. Dan is awesome can only be Dan is awesome 1,000. Back in my day, we would say Audi 5,000. Now it's Audi 1,000. What are they doing? This economy, my Christ. But yeah, man, some people are like, don't tax those billionaires. And I'm like, well, has anybody considered if billionaires can't afford a tax, maybe, just maybe they're living outside of their means? Maybe they're renting a whole city for a second wedding. And like, maybe, I don't know, call me crazy. You shouldn't be renting a city for a day to get married to someone that you just kind of met, like just maybe, I don't know. This is crazy. It's crazy. It is absolutely bananas, but just call me crazy. If you can't afford a tax after $999 million, maybe you shouldn't be buying a new iPhone every year. Maybe you should be letting up on the avocado toast. But a lot of people are like, no, leave those billionaires alone. They're not living outside of their means. You are. And that's like the debate here in America right now. For all of you who aren't in Riyadh, at the comedy festival, Whitewashing Abuses. Is that the whole title of it? Well, this is a weird title. No, maybe that's the title of the article, sorry. But yeah, for those of you who are not in Riyadh, who are in America, the debate in America is like, tax the billionaires so we can have health care. 65,000 people a year are dying for things that are easily preventable. And there's the other side of the argument, because you always got to hear both sides. The other side is, no, maybe you're living outside of your means and you should just save up for that ambulance ride that costs you $7,000. Have you tried not having a heart attack? Jerk, And some of us are like, well, maybe the billionaires are living outside of their means, How do you have $1 billion and you're like, don't tax me? No. Like, what can't you afford at that point? And the other people are like, well, what do you need? And I'm like, healthcare, we're worried about egg price. And these people are like, maybe you're eating too many eggs, you dummy. Why don't you just save it to 1 egg a month? Well, Jeff Bezos rents the Venice. He's renting Venice. He rented Venice this summer to get married for a second time. Wasn't even the first one. The first one's special. The second one you just like do in a backyard or something. I'm guessing that's why he rented Venice. There was a nice backyard with a view. And then, so some of us are like, we should tax billionaires into extinction so everybody can have health care. Nobody in America dies from not having health coverage, which happens 65,000 people a year. And the other side of the argument is like, maybe you bought a pair of Nikes once. you jerk. Why don't you just take the bus? God, you know? And I get it. What's up, Alma? Good to see you. Meng? Is Meng here? Meng is here. 100, yeah, full flat tax. I don't know what you guys talk about in the comments, but it's 100% after 999 million. So no one become a billionaire. And I know some of you who are making, less than six figures are like, no! What happens if I almost become a billionaire? How will I get on a list? That's really it. Once you're a billionaire, you're just on a list. And potentially the Epstein list, potentially Fortune 500, potentially a lot of crossover, but it's not like you can't afford anything at that point, And some people are really like, no, you're going to destroy the economy. What? You're living outside of your means. Get a job, you loser. And that's, guys, that's Stavros didn't. I would like to Manthan M 100%. Stavi, the greatest comic in the history of recency, made fun of all of them. And you should look it up. You should look up what Stavi had to say on these podcasts to these people's faces. Much respect to them. And who am I to guys, I'm not critiquing. This is your ears are deceiving you. Like the president said, your ears and your eyes are deceiving you. I'm not critiquing. I'm a sellout every day. I go to a job because I have to have this thing called healthcare that I can't afford, and I gotta have it. I gotta have it. I gotta have me that sweet, sweet healthcare that I can't afford again because they take all the money out of my check. So I'm doing it every day, guys. At least they're doing it for what, $1 million, 300,000. That's got to get you a second vacation if you make it back and not in prison. Much love to Stavi. Much love. SB, who's listening to the president? What? Bro, I don't want you caught talking like that. You don't know what's going on. If you talk bad about the president, you go to prison. They're trying to make talking bad about the president illegal. That's what I thought the cool crossover was. All these comics were like, oh, Saudi Arabia is just like our president. He wants to fire everybody. He wants Americans to lose their job if they say anything not nice about him. And these comics were just like, oh, we deal with that all the time. We'll go to Riyadh. Yeah, no problem. No problem. That's what David Peterson said. Is that his name? David Peterson? You know him. He's the Queen of New York. Or the Queen of Long Island. I love that movie. I don't think I saw that one, but the Queen of Long Island. The Prince. The Prince of the Boroughs. That movie. You know. Sean, good thing your last name is Cope, buddy, because do you go to every, I bet you were the one that was like, Jimmy Fimmel is a liar. He's a fibber. That's why we call him Jimmy Fimmel. He's a liar. There's no such thing as comedy. Everything Sean, Cope, last name, good one. I'm glad your parents named you that. They were like, you know what? He's not going to get Johnson as a last name. We're going to call him Cope because this is going to be a long life for this one. A long life. Very long and abundant with coping. Yeah, man. I don't know. You know what? There's no comment for you because, you're one of them people. Those people, You're like, you better not ever tell a fib or lie. And there's no jokes anymore. That's illegal. Joking is illegal. And I know Elon Musk, probably your favorite bro, was like, make comedy legal again. But you were like, only the comedy that we like, which just say all of that because everybody else gets confused. Everybody else gets confused. A big fat phony. Oh man, and SB is making poor jokes and poor taste. Hey man, no political violence. Isn't that what everybody was saying? I said it, no political violence. And you're making poor taste jokes, You shouldn't be saying that. You should really watch what you're saying. Because I do a satirical show. Every comment is a truth comment. Yeah, that's right. That's how it rolls. And you know what? Oh, he says it's ban time. All right. We'll put you in timeout for 24 hours. I don't know why he would call for his own ban, but he did. That's weird. Only legal comics are Polio Rogan and Foxworthy. and Bert Segura. Bert Segura, and Tom Kresher. Tom Kresher, Bert Segura, where they're just trying to their fans love their comedy because their whole podcast now is like, how do we make money off of these dum-dums? You know? And that's like the whole podcast. And people are like, this is awesome. I can't wait for this to come out and spend my hard-earned money on that. Love this comedy. Miami, free speech though, right? But you censor the people chatting on your live. Miami, you should love that. You guys are totally against. That's what I've been saying. All hail Lord King President. You know? Don't send the religious police after me. Do we have those yet? The comedy police. Don't send the comedy police. You guys are all for not having free speech. I'm trying to fit in where I get in. All right, Miami? God, with a name like that, thought you'd be a little more bienvenitoing. Jesus. All right, guys, that's it for right now, but hit subscribe, not you, Miami. Hit subscribe, hit the their comment section is full of fans, quote, hate watching. I knew people hated Bert. Now they also hate Tom. Bert Segura and Tom Kresher. Those poor guys, they're just so unaware. But you know, like the people in the comments say, you're just jealous. So that's, you know, I can't talk about anything because I'm just jealous that I didn't think of being an OnlyFans pimp, which is Tom Segura's and Bert Kreischer's newest thing. You know, they're just like right out there, you know, proud parents of kids and OnlyFans pimps, you know, like they created it. And it's all for the money, folks. Don't forget. It's all for the money because, you know, America has made it that way. Miami. I've never been to Miami, Canada. I'm guessing it's not as bienvenitoing as Miami, America. But I don't think you can pick up on sarcasm. And that might be a Canadian thing. I'm not sure, though. I'm not sure. For all of you who think this was, you know, Fox News, this was my Fox News broadcast, then you should understand it's entertainment. That's how Fox defended themselves in court. They said, this is entertainment, guys. These are jokes. Now, I know a lot of you guys are, you know, very serious all day and every day. But like Bugs Bunny once said, a great philosopher, Mel Blanc, try not to take life too seriously. You'll never get out alive. Michael, Meng, Bandito, Manthan, thank you for subbing. If comedy died, it's because the government regulated it to death. All these libertarians don't want regulations, but they want regulations on their comedy. I can't figure it out. I'm trying to fit in, but it's really confusing. You guys are weird. Traditional conservative values are weird. You have to have so many wives and cheat on them all. And I'm like, I can't do that, man. But, you know, read the links below. Do what you want while the country's still, you know, not regulated fully. Weird libertarians. They don't want regulations on corporations, but they want it on people. I'm learning, guys. Learning. Legalize comedy. That's how we'll end it. Legalize comedy. Legalize comedy, guys. And all you white traditionalists, loosen the fuck up, okay?